All right, I hope everyone had a great break. I hope, I think you went and got a glass of water or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, just had to quickly go grab a drink, which I had to go and pick up. It's a Rockstar Zero Energy to keep up the energy.
Hashtag ad, hashtag sponsor, hashtag please give us some money. Speaking of money as well, the $515 prize pool is entirely donated by the community, so thank you all very much for getting involved. If you want to donate, reach out to me on Discord. All the money goes to the prize pool, and for having awesome seasons and awesome ways of having more Rocket League in OCE. And for those who don't know as well, the RLO Masters just got announced, so that's going to be on tomorrow night. I think sign-ups are about to close if they haven't closed already, so go head over to RLO Oceania on Twitter and make sure you sign up there. But we've got our next match. We've got our second round. We've got Fury and Mindfreak.
Ooh, it's going to be interesting. I think that it's going to be an interesting match just because Mindfreak on the weekend didn't have as much influence as I thought they might have. They had a bit of a lackluster week, in my opinion, and Fury seemed to rise to the occasion. I think now that they've managed to have a bit more consistency with the new player in... trying to remember his name now. Is it Matro?
Yeah, Matro.
Matro, yeah. I feel like it's the same with Ground Zero, just being more established in their team, a little bit more comfortable with who they're playing with and their styles, and they're starting to have some success now.
Yeah, well, for Mindfreak, on the weekend, they didn't, I feel like, play too well, so certainly we'll be looking to get back on track this week. We are going to be joining up their game and getting underway shortly. But yeah, Mindfreak didn't play well on the weekend, and they lost a game in gamers, something that they wouldn't be too happy about either. But yeah, this is their chance in the league to really make that up. They went to Game 7 overtime as well with Ground Zero in Week 1 of this one. So they certainly have potential here to be fighting a long way through the league.
Oh, definitely. They have a lot of potential, and especially now that Caveman Ben's kind of solidified his role in the team, if they're firing on all cylinders, they can be extremely dangerous. I think it's just having the reliance on each other. Requiem has a lot of flair. He can go for those really good solo plays, and it's just about giving him the support to try and get those off as well. But same with Fever. He can pull things out of his hat as well. Yeah,
I mean, a major thing that we didn't see from Fever on the Saturday of RLCS was, he just didn't have that impact, considering... in the past, Fever has managed to get an MVP from, what is more of a support role on the roster. He's also a player that, funnily enough, for Mindfreak, gets their most demos per game, which is always interesting to think about. Most of the time, the highest impact player isn't the demo player as well.
Yeah, no, not usually. Normally the highest impact player is going to be the goal scorer or even the person setting up with the assists. So it's interesting to see that Fever, having that aggressive tendency, can still get the demos and keep the pressure.
Well, it's also certainly interesting to see because it feels like their rotations of Mindfreak more revolving around looking for demos now as a team in general, which is nice to see because they are a very pressure-based team, but they've been completely countered there. Kenny Salmon, he's had a couple of weeks off. He's been on holidays. He's straight back into it.
And in a good way. The way he's able to get this read, very nicely done. He was planning for the dunk. You could tell by the amount of power generated, but I think there was a little bit too much faith by Caveman Ben there that Requiem was going to get the touch.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see Kenny Salmon back into it. I think that's also obviously affected Fury to some extent, the fact that they've been missing Kenny Salmon. He arrived back on the Sunday, but unfortunately by then they were already knocked out. Last week as well, they were missing Kenny Salmon for the league, so this is maybe their chance to really put a stamp down. If they take down Mindfreak, it kind of proves two things. That was really awkward, really close to being a bad play. But if they do take down Mindfreak, it proves that Fury is certainly no joke, but it also proves that Mindfreak might be, on the downwards trend or just a little bit out of form at the moment.
It also proves that Amphis wasn't the key to their success because him moving did hurt the team a little bit, but if they're able to get a win here, it kind of just, keeps the naysayers quiet about the fact that they don't need one player to be successful.
To some extent that's true, but I'd have to disagree at some point. There's still a lot of building that Fury need to do before I'd say they get back into, even a chance of making it second place last season. But obviously, last season as well, we kind of said the same thing. We weren't expecting them to get a second place in the first place.
Yeah, it's true. They did have a really good run. Something like what Esper did in the Gauntlet, where they just had a miracle run to get to a really high position. So it is very, very doable for these teams, but it's the consistency that we need to see at this level.
I'd like to credit Fury for their consistency. They have been doing quite well in terms of, making top 8s, doing what they need to. They made the top 6 here. So I feel like they have been playing certainly up to standard, and no matter what, even when you bringing in Lunar, you're bringing in a sub, you're bringing in Matro for his real first ever major tournament. The fact that they're still executing quite well is a testament to that strength. But despite being consistent, they're not kind of pushing the top just yet.
Yeah, just not yet. They need to, solidify a couple of things with their execution of plays. They seem to be very much a solo-based team. You don't see them looking for too many passes and too many team-based plays. It does seem like Kenny Salmon, with sometimes the support of Scarth, is setting up a lot of those plays. Well,
the way this series is going is starting to get a little bit more exciting, but I do not know what happened whatsoever to Fury there. They weren't even in a massive amount of attack for very long, and yet I think Scarth was the one pushing up very aggressively.
Yeah, I don't know if Scarth just managed to recover really awkwardly in the goal line there, or he was going for a demo, but it was very hyper-aggressive play, and they were punished on it very quickly with that open net.
Well, now it's a chance, and Kenny Salmon had actually missed, but it goes off the defender and in.
I don't know whether that's a 0 IQ play or a 1,000 IQ play, because either way it goes in, but it does. It was a bit awkward to say the least.
It's just like he's gone bowling and he's put up the bumpers, so that no matter what, it always goes somewhere in the goal area. It hurts to see when you're Requiem. You're not expecting your opponent to miss. You obviously have to play for the save.
Yeah, exactly. 9 times out of 10 that goes on net and you've got the save, but it's the 1 time out of 10 where it actually punishes you that you feel a little bit silly. But it's still plenty of time for Mindfreak to get back in. There's only 1 goal, and especially with the likes of Fever and Requiem, they do have the potential to get this back.
All the goals, similar to the last series, have been quite soft so far. We're really expecting this to pick up, for the defense to get a bit stronger as time goes on. But early on in this series, it's just been coming off some mistakes.
Fever with a solo play. Bang, there it is. You can see him setting up that from a mile away. And even though there were 2 defenders on the backboard there, just had the perfect angle to get that.
That's the power of Fever as well. And he doesn't get faked out by either of the defenders. He's up nice and early. It's a great angle as well. He's got to worry when Fever's on the opposite team that he's just going to drag them forward.
I feel like even if Fever didn't get that goal, the fact that both defenders jumped up for that, it would have been a goal either way, because he would have got a 50, it would have gone to advantage and would have been a shot. So either way, great pressure from Mindfreak.
Well, either way, it's still looking towards an overtime, though another shot straight towards target. This time Scarth was back, and usually more relaxed player, the more reactive player on the team, but Kenny Salmon's usually the one actually getting the most saves on the line. Good demo in front of net from Caveman Ben. Will give the opportunity now for Fever to set up a play, and it's always a worry when he's got some time on the ball. Requiem the last chance here. Try and take it in regulation time. Kenny Salmon will beat it back the other way, swat it away from Fever, and that's just going to be put on the ground. Overtime, game 1.
It's really interesting that this goes to an overtime, because we were saying that the teams have, pretty much something to prove here. Mindfreak to say that they, last week was just an off week and that they're back in, but for Furious to say, no, we are still relevant. So it's very, very interesting how this is so close.
Mindfreak have also taken a couple of losses so far to Canberra Havoc. Of course, they took the important one against Canberra Havoc in the league last week with a 4-0. But in both the open qualifiers of the league and in RLCS, they took losses to Canberra Havoc, another team in this competition. So they're definitely going to be wanting to find further ways to get ahead of them.
Exactly. Kenny Salmon now going for a bit of a solo play. Doesn't have boost to work with, so Fever will put that ball back into the blue side of the field. Scarth getting challenged, but very well read. And now he can get the ball moving. But Caveman Ben actually getting a nice 50 there to advantage and keeps his pressure on and starving this Fury team.
Smart play as well, but just held on by Matro. Demos attempted in the midfield, and Scarth getting that clear is quite important, but Requiem will be on the receiving end of a nice pass from Caveman Ben. Bit flat-footed there, Requiem, in order to be able to get that goal, so going to be hanging around in OT for a while.
Yeah, it looks like now they're a bit established. They're rotating quite efficiently. You're not going to see something super crazy coming out of the woodworks unless, someone's double committing in the wrong time in the wrong space. Fever getting a nice 50 there. Requiem with the shot, open net opportunity, but they still can't push it in.
I think the shot was actually covered as well by the defender, so it was smart enough for Requiem to get that one around, and yet still not playing aggressively enough to turn it into a goal, though Requiem should here. He's got the angle. That is a massive double from Requiem.
That was beautifully set up as well. I like that Fever was able to find him so easily in the midfield, and as you said, Requiem not missing those.
The first game going the way of Mindfreak. They've held on quite well in this game. And of course, falling early twice to Fury, with Fury getting those go-ahead goals. So they make a bit of a comeback at the same time.
Yeah, I'm still not really satisfied with the way Mindfreak are playing. They do manage to get off that win, but there was a lot of times where they were stacked in the same area. They were controlling the same corner on defense at one point where they're all just kind of fumbling about. So it's a bit awkward at sometimes, but, they do put the goals in when it counts, and that's the main thing, but still some awkward signs on defense.
Yeah, awkward overall, but again, we've kind of seen everybody in the league have to warm up a little bit into their play, so I'm certainly expecting game number 2 to look better, and we saw the end of that game looked a lot better as well. In fact, in overtime, they kind of, as they backed off a little bit, both teams, they both seemed a lot more stable overall.
Yeah, exactly. Caveman Ben going for I guess it was a pass, but he's able to follow it up himself. There was a bump on the goal line. Fever going with a shot, but it is slightly off to the left side. So Fury able to control and try and move this ball out and manage to do so. Yeah,
it feels like when you talk about, Fury trying to control it out of defense, that's fine, but their touches just haven't been good enough. I mean, look at that one. It should have been a pass to Kenny Salmon, but not in the right position for him to really get it out. So even though they do get it to the other end, that was certainly a counter-attack opportunity that kind of gets wasted by touches just not quite being up to par.
Requiem now putting a lot of pressure onto the goal line. Caveman Ben coming through with the support and catching the defender off guard, and that was a very nice pressure play.
And then Fever getting the double off the corner certainly sets it up, forces out the double. Matro doesn't know when Caveman Ben's shot's going to come in. So the first goes to Mindfreak, and they get an early lead for the first time in this series.
It's going to be good for their confidence to get this lead early on as well, especially getting the last win. So good building steps for Mindfreak as Caveman gets a nice dunk there, clears a lot of space. He should have an open net and seals that one away.
Yeah, nice job from Caveman Ben. Very quickly shutting things down, but also quickly following up his own touch. And this is the second time we've seen Fury a little bit awkwardly overcommitted. It's not like they had 3 men commit to a play. It was kind of just the beginning of an attack, so you're not really expecting there to not be anybody ready for a defense at that point.
Yeah, we just saw Fury really pushing too far forward, being hyper-aggressive early. And one thing that happens with that hyper-aggression is if you get one good clear into space, it generally results in an open net. So I think Fury need to address that a little bit as Matro manages to get the ball onto the backboard. Fury will challenge, but they've done well to keep this ball locked in the corner.
Fury have a lot of work to do here because they've looked a little bit unclean this game in terms of their touches. And last game they kind of got away with being able to get gifted, I guess, a couple of goals, you'd say.
Yeah.
The goals were kind of brought upon by mistakes. It's not really happening here, though. Matro does his best. He could have got a little bit more power on that flip reset, and it would have been a goal.
Yeah, Matro just unfortunately not getting the power that he wants, but they're able to maintain a lot of pressure here, and we're seeing Scarth and Matro putting on some pressure. Bit of a fake there. I think it actually will work into advantage as Scarth cuts the angle quite well, but Fever just getting a touch there.
With 2 goals in the lead, you don't want to be in that position against Mindfreak at any time because they're able to just hold on to it so well. They're able to control the midfield so dominantly. I'd say maybe even the best team, definitely the best team outside of, Renegades at holding on to a lead.
Yeah, they do really well. They once they get that lead, as you said, they are able to keep on that pressure and shut out their opponents quite effectively. And that's going to be a big credit to their success if they're able to maintain these leads for quite a considerable amount of time.
This one could sink in. It just goes a little high. But again, more midfield play and the 50-50 that time, almost leading to a goal. Kenny Salmon's going to test the defense. But, I say, like, for a team like Fury that are trying to push up a lot, who are, playing very rotationally, it's almost surprising to see them go for so many solo plays, for them to not be working so well together as a team. It's a safe play style for the most part, but it also doesn't intimidate many defenses.
No, it doesn't. I would have to agree. And I've just been watching the way Fury have been rotating here, and we're seeing Scarf twice now being caught in the wrong position. I feel like he's maybe pushing up a little bit too high, not really sitting deep enough for Mindfreak, which are really executing those passing plays out of the midfield well.
I mean, credit to Scarth as well. I mean, I know that he's trying to work on being a bit more actively part of the play. And this is probably the tournament you really want to work that in. This is a tournament where you get a good chance to practice against the best of the best without, $100,000 on the line or even more.
Yeah, exactly.
International opportunities on the line. So for Scarth, he's trying to figure out where he needs to place. He's trying to figure out how to be a bit more active. But as somebody who's played very defensively for years, that's going to take a lot of time for him to learn.
Exactly. You'll be in situations where you're probably sitting in no man's land, where you're too far away to be challenging the ball quickly, and you're too close to sit deep enough to get that passive save. So it's a bit awkward, especially with Mindfreak and the way they're able to execute these passing plays out of the defense.
Well, Mindfreak haven't been tested right here. I mean, this has been the best play so far from Fury, and they certainly have a passing opportunity down to Scarth. Again, playing very aggressively on this ball is Scarth. But it's kind of aggression in terms of just going for the ball and not aggression in terms of getting into a position for a passing place. Kenny Salmon, though, he will find a shot. He'll find an angle. And he's been the guy who's getting most of the goals so far.
Yeah, definitely. And that was just a really good forced solo play there. He managed to put the ball dangerously towards the net, and it's just a bit unfortunate that Requiem popped the ball in the way that he did so Kenny could slam it home. But as you say, Kenny Salmon really having his way on offense.
It's going to be interesting as well. If this does end up being one-sided, well, the final match of the day as well is going to be Canberra Havoc against Cringe Society. It may be a little bit similar there, where we have some domination from one of the top teams. But it is nice to see Mindfreak really kind of come back into this controlling area. These have been, as we said, slumping a little bit the last week. And I feel like while they were slumping, they weren't controlling the midfield line. They weren't holding pressure for very long at any point in time.
Yeah, they're definitely holding that. Pretty much just like midline gatekeeping, where they're not allowing the ball to really have much time in their own defensive side, and that's really been why they've been effective on a lot of their plays.
It's a big clear away. It's not going to be a goal for now, though. That could be. It's another rough touch. Oh, it just feels like no matter what, Fury aren't able to get the touch that they ever want. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
He's trying to smash that one across.
He is, but again, it's that kind of no man's land where he's too far pressed to be passive and get that long clear, and he's too far away from challenging the ball instantly, and that's where you have that awkward time. You can't quite get up high enough to get the perfect angle on the hit, and you end up just giving the ball away.
It hurts to see as well, because Scarth again is working very hard on his mechanics and being a bit more aggressive, and in the process of doing that, it's going to take some time for them to figure it out. As a team, even to figure it out, it really feels like they haven't been able to even gel as a team yet in this series. Because I know that they have some really solid passing plays when they get going.
They do, definitely, especially between Matro and Kenny Salmon. I remember watching a series where they were linking up very, very nicely, and they had a lot of strong plays. It just seems like they don't have the same confidence to pull them off in this series.
As well, if you want to look at the bracket, it's not there apparently right now, but head on over to Liquipedia. And actually, it's very difficult to find because we called it the league as a bit of a meme, but it's not very good for actually searching. So we'll make sure to have it. At the end of this series, I'll go and get you guys the link. But this is round robin. This is league play, 5 weeks. This is week number 3. In 2 more weeks, we'll have our top 6. They're all playing to get into the finals. And there's another important thing to note for Mindfreak as well, is that, you know, you really want to be in that 3rd position at the end of the league, at the end of the round robin. Because if you're in 4th and you lose your first match of the gauntlet, you go down into relegations.
Yeah, true. That's a very good point. So you almost want to, like you said, be in that 3rd position and hold a little bit more standing and avoid that relegation.
Let's see if they can continue on this streak, because they're looking quite hot right now. Seems that, you know, our 100 megabit down connection is not working the best for me right now, as they're getting a little bit of lag, but overall it looks like the stream quality should stay there. So I apologize for any issues that you guys see. But yeah, I mean, again, we're kind of seeing Fury not be able to really connect together as a team. They're not being able to get the touches that they want. And one of those 2 things has to change. Either they start getting the best touches possible with every single touch, or they figure it out as a team. And I think the second one is certainly the more viable option for them.
Oh, definitely. Having that connection between the team and, you know, knowing exactly who's going to be where to go for those passing plays, or even just to have the support to challenge quickly, that's going to be the biggest difference for them. And at the moment, we're just seeing almost 3 individual players on a team rather than them really gelling together.
Well, as individuals, they haven't been doing their best either, so if we can find them push up together, maybe Scarth, again, kind of working too much on his own gameplay, and that's kind of affecting the rotations as well, though this is the counter-attack. Scarth will put this in a center. Matro may have some time after that bump, but it's actually just a bait. He got baited by his own teammate's bump, thought he had a bit more room to go forward.
Wow, that was an absolute bang from Requiem. He just split the defenders there, and they couldn't really get to the ball at all. And now we're starting to see Mindfreak really open up on the attack.
3-0 in the lead for now. Chance here for Mindfreak to just really stamp out Fury as well. And Fury got a couple of goals, but they haven't had really any in his last couple of games.
No, they've been really stifled with a lot of their attacking presence. It seems like, you know, Mindfreak now are just unloading and being really aggressive. Like, we're seeing them lock down the ball in the halfway quite well, and, you know, just not being punished for being so far forward.
Chance now for Fury to get on the board, but instantly shut down, unfortunately. And, you know, it feels already over in this game. Halfway in, we can't talk about that with Mindfreak. They're so good at holding on to a lead, at keeping pressure, and this is a very different Mindfreak again than what we saw on the weekend, where they weren't able to really play that midfield very well. They're shutting down things nice and early here.
Yeah, it seems like they've been able to do maybe some replay analysis and just fill the potholes that they were having on the weekend, because they are holding this ball down very, very well. We do see an overcommit there by Requiem, and Matro should be able to slot this one in, although he can't quite catch the air drag.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Fury here. They really should have would have been able to expect that gets in there, but didn't for now.
See, this is the thing that I was talking about earlier with Mindfreak, how they're all stuck in the corner and they're very, very awkward on defense. They do manage to work the ball out, but it was very, very hard to get the ball into that position.
3-0 now. It's just in there, and honestly, when you're Mindfreak, you're not in danger zone. You're going to get a chance to actually have a bit of fun with this one. We'll see, because, you know, we can know that Fever and Requiem can go get some big plays here. It looks like Fever will be the one. He gets a big fake, almost gets it past the second, but the flick wasn't quite on.
Yeah, if he managed to get that flick, it would have been really on for Caveman Ben if he did manage to get the crossbar, but he still stays very forward and is able to get that fourth goal, and that was just off some really good pressure.
Yeah, and it's painful to see because Scarth again has missed that one. Kenny Salmon's been thrown for a loop as well, so you know it could have been a very different game after all with if Scarth brought that back, but he's looked really rough this series so far.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just they haven't had much scrim time, or I'm not 100% sure, but you're completely right. Scarth just seems a little bit disconnected in this match, and Kenny Salmon's probably feeling the pressure to try and put his team on the back and create those scoring opportunities. And we do see a shot there by Scarth, but very easily defended by Mindfreak, and now the counter attack is on. Fever with a shot nearly puts it in, but they're still able to keep lots of forward pressure.
Masho ends up getting a solid 50 there, but it's not going to be enough to really put the test to Mindfreak. So this game number 3 is going to go Mindfreak's way as well.
Scarth takes a shot, catches Requiem, but can't quite put it in. Although own goal potential there is Fever just unfortunately being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lots of bodies on the ball at the moment, but Fever will be the one challenging. Gets it up, goes for the double. Can he get the read? Scarth there with the save.
Well, at this point in time, what are you thinking has to change for Fury going into the next game?
It's hard because I'm right now in fly mode, and I'm just kind of seeing what's happening with Fury in terms of their rotations, where they are, whether they're controlling the field as well. I feel like Mindfreak at the moment have very good field control. They are controlling a lot of zones with their positioning, and that's making it hard for Fury to have time and space and influence on the ball. So I feel like they almost need to, I don't know, maybe adjust their positioning when they're moving forward so they're not sitting so far up in case there is that forward clear.
I mean, I guess if I was in Fury's position right now, I'd just be, aggressively putting the pedal to the metal, just trying to play as fast as I can. You're probably not going to win the series no matter what at this point. So you give it your all, you try and change things up and put the control back in your half, even if that's going to make you have some more mistakes. I think that's fine if you, again, kind of like playing to extend your own position, extend your own mechanics, and I guess make yourself better in the long term, maybe throw off Mindfreak at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes the most awkward and unexpected players are the most effective, and wow, what a carry there by Fever. Nearly puts it in.
Yeah, he made the full length of the pitch. Unfortunately, you can't have more than 100 boosts because probably would have made something special out of that one. It's a midfield battle here, and Matro slowed that down right in front of Scarth and Kenny Salmon, which slows down the entire play for those two teams.
Exactly, and it's some of those decisions where they're looking to slow the play down, probably at the time where they have the most forward presence, and it's those possible, decisions that really cost them.
Breakaway again from Fever. He's certainly going for a lot more solo play out of defense into trying to set something up. It is where he is very powerful. Caveman Ben sticks behind that ball, and it's going to be continued on from Requiem. Again, we kind of have to look at whether Fury can kind of up their mechanical touches. They've just been off all series long. And, when you're making mistakes, it makes it very easy for a top 4 team like Mindfreak to capitalize.
Yeah, exactly. When the mistakes are coming through, although we see a mistake there by Mindfreak, and it does get capitalized a little bit longer than I expected for that shot to come through, but eventually Fury do manage to put one on, and I think this is the same thing as last series, where this is the first time they've been able to take a lead.
That was a very nice touch as well from Scarth, where he actually looked like he was going to put that kind of into the left-hand side of the net. Caveman Ben challenged to go goal side, and then Scarth actually takes it to the right. So even though it came off the post, it was the only way to get that past the defender. Scarth reading Caveman Ben's challenge really well.
Yeah, and that's some good confidence building as well. Getting something on the board there where you're a bit under pressure and it's a bit awkward, but it does work out in the end. So hopefully we see a bit of a resurgence in Fury, but they need to fix up some of these decision makings where they're slowing the ball down at the wrong time.
Well, Scarth has Metro in the midfield. Caveman Ben will prevent that happening, but it's at least nice to see Fury connecting a little bit more. So we've missed all series long. There should be a defensive pass. Actually, no one there. Macho, I guess, showing his inexperience. Kenny Salmon had a free touch to get the pass across, and yet he went to net. And that might also be based off these misses that are just happening left, right, and center.
I could see that happening. You see Scarth go for this ball, and it forces Kenny Salmon to play really passive. He had to hesitate there, and that just opened up for Mindfreak to, set up a good passing play and Fever to score. So it's some of these knee-jerk decisions where they're going for the ball when possibly it's best to leave it. That's costing them.
Yeah, maybe these mistouches aren't just from mechanical decisions. I mean, we're seeing misplays as a team, left, right, and center. Seeing challenges not panning out. Maybe challenges that are being trusted too much at certain moments in time as well. And Scarth just holds on to that one. That's a really nice infield from Mindfreak, but it was also dangerous considering where Scarth was positioned.
Yeah, very dangerous, but they do walk away unscathed. Even game as we're nearing the 2-minute mark, and we're seeing Mindfreak being a little bit adventurous with their touches, but that's a great shot by Scarth. It does get saved by Fury, but Scarth's starting to have a bit more influence on the attack.
I mean, even just that is a sign that, I feel like that's the best touch that Scarth's had all series long. Kenny Salmon's missed another one. Matro is... Well, the thing is as well when it comes to Fury is that I feel like all three of them have been having these mistouches. These plays not going the way they exactly wanted.
And it's hard because you're almost expecting your teammates to get that touch that you want them to have, and that's causing them to hesitate, be in the wrong position, and being caught out. And we see it happening here. We see Scarth getting challenged to the ball and just no one there to challenge and support him.
Yeah, his challenge as well, maybe a little bit unexpected. Thought the defender was actually going to be there a bit earlier, so he went for a 50, ends up hitting it straight into him, and that's what causes it to go up and over his head and then eventually into the goal. Here's a chance for Requiem again. Mindfreak starting to turn up the offense, especially in terms of their corner passes at the moment.
Yeah, the corner passes have been very dangerous. They've been able to find teammates very consistently, and that's just because they're rotating very, very quickly on their offensive side, although Kenny Salmon does enough to get the ball away. Good challenge there as well from Fury, but the support is there for Mindfreak, and a very quick turnaround from Caveman Ben to move the ball forward.
Almost moved into middle. It'll be Macho 0 boost. A demo from Requiem should open it up. This needs to be finished off by Fever here, but Scarth holds on. Fever again may have another opportunity. It's instead Requiem who receives maybe a bit of a pass to Matro. At this point in time, Fury needs something and they need it fast.
Yeah, the clock is ticking down, and with every second passing, it's going to make it even more difficult and more anxious for them to try and put something on. But this is going to be a good breakaway chance. All members of Mindfreak are in the wrong side of the field. Kenny Salmon may be cutting that a little bit too early, and the shot's going to come out from Mindfreak and put Kenny Salmon in under stress.
Just rushed himself there for sure. And that's tough because they've had so few opportunities. That one actually very surprising clear from Fever, but now Scarth gets just completely shut down by Requiem. He wanted to take his time, but Requiem comes in very quickly to make sure that they have no opportunity whatsoever. A mistouch from Matro again will send it down the other end. It's all on Scarth to take it back to see if they can get one game on the board. This will be their second 4-0 if it happens, and it looks like it's going to be the case. Fever gets the third one in.
I mean, if Kenny Salmon managed to get that ball out, then there was going to be a possibility, but Requiem shut that down very quickly, and Fever putting the nail in the coffin there. Nothing that Mindfreak can do now. Kickoff will happen, 3 seconds will count down, and that'll be a very unfortunate showing from Fury.
For Fury, they were certainly expecting a whole lot more, but GG's go out. A 4-0 drubbing by Mindfreak is actually going to put them in very good stead in the standings, considering they'll be on the same record still as Renegades, but in terms of tiebreaker, in terms of the game record, Renegades actually in very good... Mindfreak actually in very good stead.
Yeah, and that's like you said earlier with the round robin, especially with only having 6 teams. The tiebreakers and the points, the way they're distributed, are going to be so important when coming into that last round, because it could really influence how successful you're going to be in those finals.
Well, we're going to have to look one step closer at how the finals are about to go. After this short break, we will have Canberra Havoc taking down Cringe Society in our final match of the day.